What happened to all the EV companies that were popping up left and right to save the day? From the world exploding from pollution. Your rides, your Fisker Whiskers, your Lees, your Solo Dolos. Where'd they go? So before we get into the reasons as to why EV stocks have fell way down, and are they going to return, like your Fisker Whiskers, your rides, your Lees, your Solo Dolos, we're going to take a look at that. But first, check out my Discord. I run a competition every month, and I want to let you guys know about this because you could also enter into this. So last month, I had a competition that runs for 30 days. You put in your stock pick, and if your stock pick has the most gains at the end of the month, you win prizes. I'll give away Retire Young shirts. I'll give away free months of the subscription. I'll give away free money if I have to. It's more of a fun competition. But more importantly, one of my members right here, Superbird, picked RECAF, Recon Africa. They struck oil, and it actually happened on the last day of the competition, and this stock went through the roof. So this stock is looking very promising. I'm going to show you the chart because this was a phenomenal pick. But the point I'm trying to make is by you entering into these competitions, or at least watching these competitions, these members are putting in a lot of work and doing a deep dive. They're saying the reasons why they're picking this stock. And not only are you in a competition or watching a competition, you could ride these gains. So if you would have jumped into Superbird's pick, starting at 293 at the first day of the competition, at the end, you would have been up 50%. Also, two other good picks, 13% very good, and 12% very good as well. But first place, Superbird, great job. You get enter into these competitions. Links in the description. You'll get access to my Discord. It's called Stock Alerts. You have to sign up. But there's a lot of money to be made in these competitions, not just trading your stock, but also learning about why people are picking these stocks. We're not just throwing tickers out there. We're doing research on them. Now look at this run. This was a crazy pop, almost 200% pop. It is pulling down because people are taking in those profits from that major run up. But these guys struck oil. So they're set up to drill 3 wells to prove up the existence of these indicators of possible petroleum. They may have proved it in the first drill. Some results are just in, and this play may have just been hugely de-risked. But it looks like they did much more than that. They encountered oil and gas indicators. So if you scooped up shares on this, from what they're saying, you did very well. Obviously, Superbird did really well, 50% gains, but I'm sure he's still holding. This is interesting because now the stock is on our radar from this contest. If you didn't get in, don't worry, it's not too late. Drill 2 is just about to start, and if they strike oil on that one, it's going to go probably even higher. So that's the competition. Recaf is doing amazing things. It's going straight through the roof. That's from our contest section over here. So this is the contest we're running right now where a lot of people put their picks in. If you want to see what those picks are, check out the link in the description and you'll get a whole list of everyone that enrolled their stock. Cryptos as well. We're doing stocks and cryptos in this contest. It ends on May 20th. So link in the description. It's called Stock Alerts. Now, on to EV and why EV is nosediving. So today I want to take a look at these EV companies that were so hot and so popular, but they're fizzling to nothing. Down 30, 40, 50, some 100%. Crazy downtrends going on for months on end. What happened here? Look at this one. Solo Dolo. Remember Solo Dolo? These guys had such good runs, like incredible runs. Look at this. 400% moves. Solo Dolo went with their little big wheel of a car, whatever the hell that thing is. Massive Eiffel Tower. And then they're fizzling to nothing. Why do they do this? Are people not interested anymore in saving the planet? Are we bringing back gasoline? Or is Tesla just going to wipe them all out, or are the big manufacturers going to wipe them out? Listen, I have a few theories I want to share with you, and I'm going to do a few price targets on these EV companies that have disappeared. I'm going to tell you, are they going to come back, or are they going to just fizzle out forever? So from its peak, Solo has dropped 260%. Fisker Whisker from its peak has dropped 162%, making a more recent small bounce. Lee, look at this. I got to shrink the chart. It's fallen so much. 157% fall on Lee. Neo's still doing decent. From the top, 98%, the least fallen of the bunch. And Ride was another hot one. It fell almost below its initial offering price. 254% fall on Ride. This was quite the ride. This roller coaster only went down. This is horrendous. All of these EV companies that were hot just 6 months ago, 8 months ago, they were booming. They were the talk of the town. This is where everyone funneled their money to. All of your assets, you were liquidating everything, allocating it into these EV companies, because this is what the administration was going to say they were going to do, was they were going to really push on clean energy. And that's where all the money went. Tesla went on a crazy run as well. Let's see what Tesla's down. Tesla from where it's at now, 24%, the big dog. So these numbers show you how big of a dog they really are. We got a couple poodles, couple chihuahuas, and we got this Rottweiler, this little pit bull. Now, the reason why I believe that a lot of these EV companies have just been steadily falling down is because they were fresh, they were new, they were the first ones to say, hey, we're coming out with this EV car, we're coming out with this EV truck, we're coming out with this new technology in my pickup truck, whatever. But then eventually they got overshadowed by Ford, the Mach-E. They were overshadowed by all these other big car companies, Nissan, Chevy, Toyota. All the big manufacturers can easily produce an EV vehicle and actually produce it rather than just creating a prototype. Anybody could create. I could Photoshop something real quick right now and say it's coming out in 2022. If I had a public stock, it'd go through the roof. It'd go through the roof. But we know when Toyota, GM, someone big says this, they have the infrastructure and the system to actually produce it and make it happen. So Ride, Solo, Fisker, Whisker, all these guys have been beaten down because they were so overvalued. They went up too high, too fast, without any sales. No cars. So you have to know when to get out. If you're part of my Stock Alerts program or my Discord, you would know that I dramatically reduced all of my EV positions. Months ago, I have 5% positions, so if they do happen to bump up, I'll make a little return. But you got to get out of these when the downtrend begins and the momentum shifts somewhere else. Right now, the momentum is in crypto. Tesla is the biggest competition. They are already doing it. They are making the vehicles, massive amounts of volume. We know this, and a lot of people don't want to trade Tesla anymore because they think it's overvalued. It's not. It's really not. Look at my chart. I drew these arrows a couple days ago. I think this is very much going to play out. We're going to hit 1,000. And that's when the market's going to get back on a rally, because we know that a lot of stocks have been beaten down and red. Everyone is red in stocks. Crypto, through the roof. So these smaller EV companies, they're in the shadows of Tesla and all the other big manufacturers, overshadowing them because they have the huge plans, the infrastructure, the teams to produce these actual vehicles. And they're doing it. I mean, the Porsche is pretty sick. You see the Porsche? Also, Audi. Look at Audi. The e-tron. Audi's going electric. Look at this thing, all electric. It's beautiful. Now, I'm not saying that the smaller EV companies are all done. Fisker, Whiskers, your Rides, your Lees, your Solos, they're not done. NIO certainly isn't done. But they have to start producing these vehicles. As of April 15th, look at this tweet by Henrik Fisker. Past 15,000 reservations for the Ocean, enough said. Now, this would be nice if this is how the Fisker chart was performing. But it's actually performing backwards. But orders are increasing, but they're not selling cars. They could easily just refund all that money and say, we can't do it. And then you're toast. Get the car out to the people's hands. That's when we're going to start to see growth in the actual stock. My plan has always been to park a certain amount of money that I'm comfortable with letting sit and don't need to put in other places to make money with. I can just let that money sit and not worry about it nose diving or shooting up. It's going to have its ups and downs along the way, but overall, I think in the long term, Fisker Whisker is going to do very well. Now, I want to do a quick analysis on Fisker and Ride and show you where these stocks are going to go and the areas they need to break out of and what could happen if they do. So first, looking at Fisker Whisker, it obviously needs to get over 1440. That is our major resistance because of all of this over here was the strongest bottom I've ever seen in my life. This was a swing trade paradise in here, and if you were still holding it during that swing, you would have capitalized on some crazy gains when that price target, I think it was Goldman Sachs that announced it. All right, so now we're close. 1409, 1440 is the breakout over here. As you can see from my pink line, strong downtrend. But if it breaks out of 1440, which it wants to do it, it's so close, it wants to do it. It's going to come out, it's going to test 16 almost, come down, and then it's going to wave and Fisker Whisker, if they play their cards right at this critical area, I know these CEOs are watching. They know where the resistance is. They're watching my videos. And then they drop news. They're like, oh, Retire Young says 1440. All right. 1439, drop the news, Bob. So I would be comfortable with a $20 short-term price target within a couple months. It needs to break out of 1440. First of all, it needs to come down and test it. It'll actually, the best move will be to break way up and then test here because we got some support. So if it could bounce off this line and then get back over 18, consolidate in this area for a little bit, it could touch 20. So I'd say a $20 price target would be nice by like August, September. Volume will slow down a little bit in the summer because kids are going to go outside and play. Maybe that's when the hedge funds start to load up. Now for ride, we got some tsunami waves coming around. It's lower than where it initially started back in mid-2020. So this thing looks absolutely horrendous, worse than Fisker Whisker. It needs to break out over 10. So if I was going to place calls on anything, I would probably bet it on ride because are they just going to forget about their company? Or are they going to do something to get themselves out of 10 and start heading back up? Because they could create a nice inverse head and shoulders if they do that. That's what they should be doing. They should be doing these technical plays because us retail traders, we know it. We know when the inverted head and shoulders hits, and then we get in and push it up to 1750. So that would be my price target if it could do this. 1250, well, it needs to clear 10, and then 1250 is going to be its next test. It's going to bounce off. And then if they could play their cards right and treat this as support, we're going to see it. And we're going to load up. If it blasts through 1250, off to the races. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe because by hitting that button, every Monday, deep dives are dropping. If you didn't catch the last deep dive of season 2, it's up. I went to Subway. I went there. I've eaten almost this whole sandwich. It's pretty freaking good. I think it mostly has to do with the Chipotle sauce that she put on it. I said, what's your favorite sauce? She said, the sweet one. And I ate a sandwich. So check that out. It's under the Buy or Sell Season 2 playlist. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget by hitting that subscribe, it's getting you a little bit closer to retiring.